Hello and welcome to the Geek Remix podcast, episode 15. I'm Stacy.
And I'm Mari. First up on gaming news this week, I have some
Irrational
information.
Games?
Oh, yeah, they closed down.
I
I didn't
know.
know if I should cover that or not because there's this weird article on Gama Sutra saying a bunch of things about how it was not a good place to work and that everywhere is a bad place to work, and then someone else was like, no, it's great, it's fine. So I don't know. I didn't know
Well,
if I should cover that, but they're closing down.
yeah. I mean, they're not they're closing Irrational Games as it is now, but the guy is going to be continuing on with a different team because he wants to. I mean, I have the letter that he wrote about it if you wanted to hear a piece of it. I don't know if you read it or not.
Um, well, it's not the same because he lost his team and all those people lost their job. And they are the makers of BioShock Infinite, which was a number one award winner last year for pretty much every single website. So it's just really a big shock for everyone. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I suppose. There's more to it than that, but sure.
Go ahead, read it.
So I'll just read you part of it, and he says, that, you know, okay, so he basically says that he's going to close Irrational Games, and then he says 17 years is a long time to do any job, even the best one, and working with the incredible team at Irrational Games is indeed the best job I've ever had. While I'm deeply proud of what we've accomplished together, my passion has turned to making a different kind of game than we've done before. To meet the challenge ahead, I need to refocus my energy on a smaller team with a flatter structure and a more direct relationship with gamers. And then he talks about how the staff they're hosting a recruiting day where third party studios and publishers have a chance to hold interviews with departing staff. But then he talks about how his new goal is to make narrative driven games for the core gamer that are highly replayable. To foster the most direct relationship with our fans possible, we will focus exclusively on content delivered digitally.
Okay, well, that's not the whole sitch, but I don't
Well, I mean
know.
that I'm just reading what he said.
So basically, a lot of people who worked there knew it was coming. I'm not entirely sure this is completely based off of a lot of different things, but
You mean it's not entirely based on him wanting to go in a new direction?
yeah, that's basically a PR letter. I mean, I'm not going to call him a liar, but usually when there's a lot of different people just saying different things, but
I'm not saying that what he says is true. I'm just reading fact what he put out.
no,
That's all.
I'm not debating you. I'm trying not to call him a liar right now while still taking in the other sources that I've read. But basically, other people who are working were like, yeah, it's getting closed down and I'm not happy being here and stuff. But usually, when game studios are shut down, even after producing a really good game, it's because they didn't meet these certain numbers and stuff. And
Yeah.
it's because of the whole AAA system where these companies are creating big AAA titles that are over budgeted and have these expectations to sell way more than is even possible, even if they make a perfect game like BioShock Infinite.
Yeah.
So there's other sources saying different things than what he's saying. So, I mean, it's not like he would choose to shut down a studio and have a bunch of people lose their jobs. That's
I
not.
mean, I mean, sometimes and this is how I would take it, is that what he's saying is cuz the section that's under is what next, what he wants to do next. So I feel like he doesn't really talk too much about why he doesn't talk really at all about why he's shutting it down specifically. And I think that's kind of his way of not.
Well, he's not shutting it down.
Yeah.
It's not his call to do that.
Well, but I mean, he doesn't directly address like why it's getting shut down. He just says like, "This is what I want to do going into the future." You know what I mean? Like forward thinking,
Yeah.
which is fine.
Well,
But
basically, the studio being shut down actually has nothing to do with him because he doesn't have that power.
mhm.
It's the publisher. It's the people who own that company. But basically, he's gonna be moved. But whatever. I hope so. I
Yeah.
guess he's going into indie games or something. I don't know.
More narrative driven games.
So like, I'm trying to conceptualize what that would go. So like, Telltale games, like not.
I didn't play BioShock Infinite, so I can't really tell you the difference, but a narrative driven game is just something that's story driven as opposed to
No, I'm trying to think about, because there's a lot of different people going in that direction right now, and I was wondering if he was going to team up with them. But BioShock Infinite was really narrative driven already, so I'm wondering if he's just going to go into the whole entire like completely storytelling in terms of Telltale, or is he still going to keep those gameplay aspects into his new creations? So I don't know.
yeah.
Because BioShock still had a lot of gameplay to it, but it was still story heavy. But if he's saying he wants to have a heavier story in his games, and I'm wondering...
Something that's highly replayable. So I would guess that, I mean, again, I didn't play BioShock Infinite, but something that's highly replayable usually means that there's a lot of different avenues for the story to go down, so that there is a lot of replay value, meaning that you're not following one narrative track. Like, you know how, like, Saints Row 4, you're following pretty much one narrative track, you know? Whereas games like Mass Effect, there are many different avenues that you're going to go down the narrative track, and they're going to get you different outcomes.
So, on this subject, the Irrational Games article on Gama Sutra, which I'm not entirely sure is written well, but basically it's about how the person who wrote this article knew that the studio was going to be shut down because, you know, developers had been talking to her and being like, hey, like, I'm gonna lose my job, this really sucks, but she couldn't write anything about it because she couldn't officially do it, and then she was like debating on whether she should do it or not, and she was like, this really sucks, like, I can't tell anybody how my friends are being treated. And she was just basically having this like internal struggle with herself of like everyone's being treated like shit and she can't say anything.
Mm-hmm.
But then one of the people who worked for Irrational Games goes, I had a completely different experience than what she's describing from the people who told her stuff. So I didn't really want to say anything because I didn't know if I was going to be saying, like, if she had been not saying the right things or someone else wasn't. I don't know. I have no idea. So, and it's kind of hard to read what she's trying to say. I mean, Gama Sutra is kind of a big website, so I'm not really sure what... It's a really long article, and she kind of just rambles, and her main point was basically that she knew what was going to happen, and she was wondering what people felt about saying things without giving actual sources, because she wasn't able to give sources because the people told her not to source them at all. But and then she talks about how the business is volatile and how the way AAA games are made is broken because it can't sustain themselves, which causes studios to shut down because they're given these goals that are impossible to reach, and that's why so many studios have been shutting down and blah 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 blah.
Yeah. So. Well, they're owned by Take-Two.
Yeah.
Under 2K games. I find it hard to believe that he wouldn't have at least hefty power in shutting down the studio, though. He's one of the founders of the studio.
Well, no, because the way the system is that if they get bought by 2K owns them, and then what 2K can do is shut down the studio fire some people and then keep the major people and move them to another studio to work on another project. It happens all the time. He actually doesn't get a say in it because he sold his company to the larger company.
Yeah, interesting.
Which really, like, that's what happened to BioWare. Like, BioWare pretty much lost, I mean, like, had some of its writers and, like, talent moved from Mass Effect to Knights of the Old Republic, and that kind of started the downfall of BioWare and how they're putting all these weird games that BioWare has to make just to put the BioWare name on it. Because they had a Command and Conquer given to BioWare to make, and everyone was like, doesn't make any sense. But basically, a lot of game studios, bigger publishers buy smaller game studios, use their name, have them do things, and then kind of just throw them away.
Yeah.
So
I would be interested to know what the actual reason is for why it's closing.
The real truth is that we're probably never gonna really know.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, all of the articles can, like, hypothesize about it, but we don't really know the answer. I mean, we can hypothesize about, like, the AAA games and everything, but I mean, like, they didn't even really create that many games.
But the game, okay. The games they did make, though, they were pretty big. They were the Bioshock series.
Yeah, I know, but, like, yeah, I suppose.
And each game takes about 2 or 3 years to make, so that's a good chunk to make. Like, Ubisoft has different subsidiaries, and each studio only makes a few games each. So when you think of a game studio like Ubisoft actually has like 15 different studios in it, and each studio is working on one game, and that's basically what the size of Irrational Games was. They make one game every few years.
Yeah, I mean, they canceled 5.
They canceled BioShock 5? What?
No, they canceled 5 games.
That they were making, or the game 5 games?
No, they canceled 5 video games that they were making.
Oh. The mic broke for a second, sorry. In other news, World of Warcraft has implemented a level 90 boost for $60, which means that you can create a new character, start at level 1, pay $60, and then you're at level 90, which is the level cap, I think, right now. I haven't played World of Warcraft in a long time. And people seem to actually find this really convenient rather than a pay-to-win thing, because I guess by now most people have been playing World of Warcraft for a while now, so not that big of a deal. And I guess people just, a lot of people have multiple accounts, and I'm not multiple accounts, but multiple characters, so
yeah.
As you know, if this came out a few years ago, people would have been really pissed, but I guess people were already paying gold farmers and levelers for fake characters, so they may as well do that now.
Yeah.
The Metal Gear Solid 4 version of the PlayStation 4 Metal Gear
Metal Gear Solid?
Metal Gear Solid for the PlayStation 4, I think 5 or whatever, someone's going to yell at me, is going to have, you know how, like, when we play video games and you look at the sky, it's kind of just, like, one static image with, like, some clouds on it?
Yeah.
This is going to have an atmosphere simulation for the sky.
Ooh.
And I know last week I was like, who cares about the crowd? It's stupid. And now I think that the sky is cool. I'm like, oh, cool. The sky. And, like, someone's going to be like...
because it's a sky. But the crowd in a sports game? That's dumb. Who pays attention to that?
So I understand the hypocrisy in myself for being like, wow, a simulated sky. That's cool, right,
you
guys?
You just didn't care about it because it was for a sports game.
Yeah, maybe. That's probably
You're like,
it.
I never play games like that. Therefore, I don't give a shit.
It's true. That's probably my thought process. But I guess I'm sure if people who are playing sports games are like, look at that crowd. I'm like, does it have a simulated sky? No.
Do you have an atmosphere simulator behind your stadium? I think not.
Look at this. Yeah, and the picture is pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool. I mean, I don't know how much of effect it's going to have on the game, but uh I think it's neat because usually whenever I play games, I just stop and like look at things. I look at the sky, look at the backgrounds.
Yeah.
So,
People spend a lot of time on it. You might as well.
yeah, so I always look at the sky to see how the sky looks. So, yeah. I'm a sky
Speaking of
watcher.
speaking of games, Mashable came out with their list of the 10 best games of 2013.
Uh-huh.
Do you want to hear it?
Yes. I'm probably going to get
Um,
mad.
Perhaps. I don't recognize some of these, by the way. So number 10 is Tearaway. Yup, exactly.
Hold on. It sounds familiar.
It's for the Vita.
Shut up. You can't. No, nobody even has a Vita. Okay,
Exactly.
keep going.
Okay. Tomb Raider,
That's a good choice.
legit.
Yeah.
And then what's this one? I don't know what this is.
Is this one of those top 10 things where they're like, let's pick something that nobody fucking knows? Like,
I don't think so. There, because I although I don't recognize some of these, there's some great games on here.
Oh, this is Tearaway is from the creators of Little Big Planet. Oh, this looks good. This looks like a good game that I would want to play. Never mind.
Way to call something stupid without even looking at a picture. You said that by the name. The next one is Animal Crossing New Leaf.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or not just for, well, yeah. And
Animal Crossing New Leaf, I think I might have been, I don't know, I guess I felt like I had too many responsibilities for that game. Like, I got in and they're like, you're the mayor now, fix the town, you have to log in every day, help us, blah, 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 mayor, fix everything.
Help us.
And I was like, oh, this is too much responsibility, I want to play a game, I just want to get bells. Like,
Saints Row 4, of course.
Yeah, good job.
And what's really funny is that they say this open world franchise might as well make Over the Top its middle name, and the newest entry is no exception. And I was like, fuck yeah.
It's so funny because I was like, in Saints Row 3, I was like, how are they going to top this? And they did. And it was like, I couldn't have even, it was like if Stacy made a video game.
Yeah. Like where things kind of don't make sense, but yet they do.
Yeah, it's just, they'll be like, Stacy, this storyline right here doesn't make sense. She goes, excuse me, the Unicrons came.
Like, yeah,
Stupid.
like how are you gonna have superpowers when it's in the, and I'd be like, wait, I will create a matrix that we go into so that I can have superpowers, and that is where we will play the game. Saints Row 4 knows what's expected of it, the rules and tropes by which video games should abide, and then it laughs at those rules and makes up its own.
Perfect.
Next is Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons.
I was going to try and get us to play that, but I just never got around to it.
It looks really cool. I watched somebody play through almost the whole thing.
I was going to have us play it and have you, because you control each brother with one of the thumbsticks.
Yeah.
I was going to share the controller, but I just never got around to it.
Yeah.
And then,
it's a beautiful game, and it's really neat. There's not really, at least for the parts that I saw, there's no dialogue. Like, they say things, but you can't tell what they're saying because they're speaking in another language, and there's no subtitles.
Oh, are they speaking like gibbery-doop? Like, bop, beep 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 boop? Like that?
Except that it's not beepy noises. It's like, da, ba, da, ba, ba, ba.
Like Simlish? Like that when you play The Sims, how they make those sounds?
I don't remember.
Oh, okay. Don't worry about it.
I didn't play The Sims.
Don't worry, The Sims sucks. I know everyone's like, The Sims is great. It sucks. Don't worry about it. You didn't miss anything.
Yeah. I played anyways. Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds.
I haven't played that. I
Me
don't know.
neither.
Everyone says it's really great.
Super Mario 3D World.
Well, no one has a Wii U, so.
Yeah, exactly, right? And then BioShock Infinite,
Oh.
of course. Grand Theft Auto 5.
Eh.
And can you guess what the best number 1 is?
The Last of Us.
Yes.
Knew it!
Ta-da!
I really want to. You should watch a Let's Play of The Last of Us, because that's a good game.
Yeah, if anybody knows of somebody who does I'm sure that somebody we know does a Let's Play of it.
I think Bunny Suit Gaming does one of it.
Okay.
I think she finished it.
If you are listening to this podcast and you do a Let's Play of The Last of Us, please leave your name in the comments below and I will watch your Let's Play.
Yeah, and then after you're done watching the Let's Play, we can play the DLC, because I've been, holding back. I was deciding if I wanted to show it to you or not. So if you watch the Let's Play, you'll know what's going on in the DLC that just came out, so.
Yeah. Sounds good to me.
Perfect. A TV show that I just found on Netflix. You know how much I love K-dramas.
Oh my god, yes.
K-dramas, they take a lot out of you because you have to, read the screen. So
and you have to really pay attention to who everybody is.
Yeah, because
sometimes you don't get well, at least with me, I don't always catch the names.
Well, the names go by so quickly.
Yeah.
And, sometimes I have a hard time telling, people apart in white people TV shows. So, I'm even Asian, and I'm like, so that's, wait, no. That,
dude,
shit.
You were, there was that one movie that the two of us watched, I forget what it was, but I think it was a Japanese movie, but literally all the female characters, I kept getting them confused, and I felt really bad because I was like, God, I feel so racist, but at the same time, I feel like if I watch a TV show with white people and there's a bunch of blonde girls, I get them all confused too.
Yeah, so I'm not sure, but in this one I can tell them apart because they all have different haircuts.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's how you tell. Yeah. Anyways,
I felt so bad. I was like, yeah, and I was like, oh no, I'm being bad.
Well, and especially because you can't tell whose name is whose. You know what I mean?
Because first of all, you're listening to it in a different language, so you don't know which sounds are the name. And second,
and when they spell it out in the subtitles, they're spelling it, and that's not how we think that should be said. Is not how it's actually said.
I know, so it gets confusing. But anyway, this one's awesome. But the subtitles for this one go by really fast, so I have to read it as fast as I can because it's dubbed not good. Oh. But it's called My Princess.
Oh, good.
And it takes place in modern South Korea. Mm-hmm. And it's about this girl. She's at a job, and her job is to pretend to be the princess because they are having a ceremony thing, but they don't have a royal family anymore because of history,
because of insert history here.
Yeah, because of complicated, sad history, and so she's playing the role of the princess in this play, just for some random actress, and so then the bodyguard goes hey, I'll give you $100 if you come back and do this job real quick. And she's fine. And so they keep pestering each other because she's I want my $100. You said I could have $100. And so turns out that guy's super rich, and she's a really poor student.
Yeah.
And then his sister, I think, is the director of a museum, and they're trying to find the descendant of the royal family because the president just said that they were going to reinstate the royal family, but not as rulers, just as
figureheads
to the country.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to find the missing descendant because they had hidden away a secret prince a long time ago. and then the rich guy finds out because his grandfather was one of the people who protected the secret prince. That the poor student that was bugging him and they were like hanging out is the princess. But she doesn't know that she's the princess. She just thinks she's really poor.
It. Oh my god, this sounds hilarious.
But you know it's awesome. You know it's awesome. And so you know how there's that love triangle thing. Shop? You know how in every single K-drama there's the love triangle?
Yeah.
So now there's the love triangle, and then there's the rival, which is the museum director, and she's like super hot, and she's like young. She's like way too young to be a museum director, but she is, and she's like got style, and like she's got like a short haircut like your haircut. Mm-hmm. And so like obviously the poor student hates her. Huh?
That's awesome.
Yeah, she's got like short hair, and she's like
very sophisticated.
So very sophisticated and like smart and.
Because generally, if they're gonna give a character in a movie a haircut like mine, they're either a lesbian or they're like this like sophisticated like Manhattan, New York woman who's like all business and.
Well, she's not steely. She's just like, hey, I got everything.
Exactly.
It's like, awesome.
Very. Yeah, I don't know how to describe what I'm trying to say. There's like typecasting for this haircut.
I think it might be a little bit different in.
Well,
I don't know. I have no idea. Yeah. But she seemed to have it together, and like the main character was like super jealous of her because she was so beautiful and everything. Ooh. Like, because she has a crush on her professor, and her professor's dating that lady. So she was like, I need to know what my professor's girlfriend looks like. And then she's like, damn it!
So, like, that's how they always are, like, in K-dramas, like, the love triangle, it's like the love leads around in, like, a gigantic circle. Like, somehow all these people that didn't know they're connected are suddenly connected and everybody's in love with each other.
It's awesome. So, okay, so the student who didn't know that she's a princess, which we just found that she's a princess because I was just watching. So she has a crush on her professor. Her professor has been dating the director of the museum for 10 years, and their first love. So I guess that's like important in South Korea to have a first love or something. Yeah. And then the rich guy who ran into the princess that he doesn't know is a princess, I think he might be dating her too. But I'm not entirely sure. I'm pretty sure that there's a love triangle with that. And then I predict that those two are going to find out of each other. And then they're both going to fall in love with the princess because she's a princess. And then she's going to go, no, I don't want to be a bat. And they're both going to vie for her. But she's going to end up with the rich guy who's not her professor.
Well, it sounds like you've got this all worked out.
But you know what? I can't wait.
Is it better than Flower Boy Ramen Shop?
I think so. It's got that drag, but I don't think it's going to be better than My Lovely Samsoon.
No. How could anything ever be better? I remember there was a statistic that I saw about how like for the final episode of My Love, it was either for the final episode or for like the series, like 50% of television sets in Korea were tuned into that show.
And listen, guys, if you're a guy and you think, oh, K-drama is like, it's not for me or whatever, like, let me tell you, most Asian guys love K-dramas. And they're totes fine with it. They love it. Mm-hmm. Love K-dramas. It's true. Like, and then even my boyfriend, he'll, like, you know how, like, you gotta just turn something on and then they'll be like, this is stupid. And then they'll be like, so then what happened?
So, couple facts. It had an average viewership rating of 37.6%. Its peak rating of 50% for the finale. And it is the 26th highest rated Korean drama of all time.
Oh, what's above it? Oh, so you're talking about My Lovely Samsoon?
Yes.
What's above it? What could be better than My Lovely Samsoon?
You know what? I should go through. I should figure out like what the number one uh list of all time K dramas, because that would be a really interesting list for us to go through when we have time,
Ugh.
whenever we want.
Why are K dramas like so good? It's like if they came out in America, I think a lot of people would be like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
But like,
But for some reason, yeah, because I used to watch these all the time when I was in school, and it's like they're like, and I would always try to imagine like the same things happening in like an American TV show, and I'd be like, no, that'd be stupid. Like this is funny because because it's a K drama.
oh,
For
you know
some
what's
reason,
kind of like a
all of
K drama?
what?
Project Mindy, the Mindy Project.
Yes, it is.
That's why I love it so much. It's like a K drama. I
Because
knew
everybody's
it.
really goofy. Yeah.
Oh man, but I try to imagine, but it's like some
Like
of the things that they do and say are a little bit too like reliant on South Korean culture, where
Mhm.
it's like their age is super important, and how much money you have is like seems to be okay to like talk about,
Yeah.
and I don't know, and
It's like
like
it's not cool for a woman to be single.
yeah, I don't know. I feel I feel like the later ones, it's okay for them to be single,
Mhm.
and they're getting a little bit more independent in the ones that are in more recent years.
Yeah.
I don't know. My princess, though, let me tell you, I love secret princess movies. Love it. The Prince and Me, Princess Diaries. Like,
That's what I started thinking of when you said that it was called My Princess, and then you started describing it, and I was like, wait a second, this sounds like an Anne Hathaway movie.
listen, if you tell me there's a secret princess, I'm like, yeah, give it to me. I'll watch it.
Secret Princess. I think that those premises do so well because it's like I think there's like this thing inside all of us that wants to believe that we're destined for greatness or for like specialness, and that somebody has to just discover it in us.
I feel it's like we have a little princess inside of all of us, secretly.
And yes.
We have a little monarch that oppresses the masses secretly.
So one thing that I found this interesting article, and this was on LinkedIn, and so I'm not going to go through the whole thing because most of it's like aimed at work, but what they were talking about was like the difference between introverts and extroverts,
Uh-huh.
and like how there are myths to introverts that are not true. Um, and one of the myths that they were talking about is extroverts get energy from social interaction, whereas introverts get energy from privately reflecting on their thoughts and feelings, which I feel like is like it's publicized like as a fact, and it's not actually true. Um, Introverts, and I'm only sharing this because like I never really could understand like if I was an introvert or an extrovert, because like I enjoy being by myself, yet when I'm around other people, like I do just fine. And I found it really interesting because they talk about how introverts spend the same amount of time with other people as extroverts, and they enjoy it just as much. And both introverts and extroverts experience greater energy when they talk more.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like, um, and I guess like the difference is that for for introverts, they're prone to being overstimulated by intense or prolonged social interaction, which for me makes total sense because like when I go to large social gatherings, like I do okay for a little while and then I just want to go home.
Oh, that's how I am too. I feel
Exactly.
like
But it doesn't mean
I
that we don't like socializing with people. Like I like hanging out with people and like hanging out with my friends, but I'm not going to enjoy being at like a party and having to like work the room for hours. It just, you know,
Like every
uh
time I do like a big social thing, I kind of need to go home and just not be spoken to or looked
yeah,
at.
exactly.
Like I need to like be alone in my closet and just I have a perfectly fun time while I'm out. I just
Yeah, but then after that it's like you want to go home and recharge, and you recharge by being like by yourself, right?
right.
Yeah.
Oh, I have you
But
ever
I
heard of
guess
emotional vampires?
people who like drain you of I explain.
Okay. Cuz you know how some people like they think that vampires are cool so they just kind of like want to be a vampire?
Ugh.
And you know how I go on the internet and then I look at weird forums just to like look at them?
Yes.
So I think it was like a few years ago I was like reading this vampire forum just being like,
Like, what's
okay.
this about?
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, what's all this about? Like sometimes I'm just like it's not entirely that I think they're weird because I know that I'm weird too. It's just like it's
Well,
weird, but it's
sometimes you
like
just
not.
like you want to read about like things, you want to like see what people are talking about that I don't know that you haven't seen before. It's like, hey, people, there's a large group of people that think this is really interesting, and what's that all about?
It's like I think that they're weird, but it's not that I think that it's a bad thing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like not a bad thing that they're weird. So anyway, like these people were talking about different types of vampires. I was like, tell me about that. But I didn't say. I was just reading it, and they're like, yeah, I'm an emotional vampire. When I go out into crowds, like I absorb their energy and it nourishes me. And I was like, and so now I'm just like, oh, so you're an extrovert.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what
You
you
soak
are.
you soak up everybody else's energy. Yep.
So I guess there's like different types of vampires, and I guess there's like energy vampires and stuff. Like you don't have to drink blood in order to be a vampire,
Oh
but I guess
Lord.
you'd still have to wear weird clothes. So, because from what I was
But I
picking
guess
up
you
on the
still
forum
have to dress from
pictures,
Hot Topic in order to be a vampire.
from what I was picking up on the forum pictures, I was like, oh, well, I guess you still have to wear those clothes though. So,
So at least everybody will know who you are.
I wonder. I find really weird stuff on the internet where I'm just like, tell me more.
You always preface these things by like, so I was looking at fill in the blank with random thing here at this thing on the internet, and I just thought, not because I'm into that type of thing, but just because I, wanted to see what it was all about. And I'm always like, Mari, you find everything on the internet.
I know. It's not even like I'm particularly into it or anything. I'm just like, what? Tell me everything that you think about that.
Yeah. Do you remember? I think there was a website. Hold on. Let me see if it's still Vampire. Oh, do you remember the website Vampire Freaks?
It sounds familiar.
It's kind of it's like a social networking site for vampires.
Oh, okay. Is
For
there
people
an
who
option to be an emotional vampire?
I don't know, but like it's like a social networking site for like people who I don't know, just I don't know, think they're not like think they're actual vampires. I mean, I'm sure some of them do, but like that whole like subculture, like
Yeah.
gothic industrial culture. It's a site specifically for that. And I remember like when I was much younger going on that site and thinking it was like the coolest thing I'd ever seen.
Whoa, look at these vampires.
Because
Oh.
it was like before people all had Facebook, and
Oh.
I was like, holy shit, this is so cool.
Everybody gets their own profile? Like, what?
Whoa! Yeah. I could like find and I remember like hanging out with this one kid who was like who I met on Vampire Freaks, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm like in my own industrial band," and like blah 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 blah.
Did he wear a gas mask?
No. And I'm not like mocking this culture because I mean we all have our thing, but I think he thought that he was going to be like the next Trent Reznor. And so like after we hung out, he like gave me a bunch of like the sample CDs that he had made. That's how long ago this was. People still made sample CDs
I feel
instead
like
of
I
instead
feel
of
like
just
mixed
letting you
CDs are
download
still a
music for
thing.
free on the internet. And yeah, it was very interesting.
Oh my god.
Fun stories about my life.
I feel like I have a cool story on the edge of my mind, but I can't think of it. Oh, you ever like, how like when people are like, yeah, that movie was cool, but it's not cool. It's for kids now. Like someone told me, I was like really excited that Jurassic Park was on Blu-ray, and my friend was like, "Don't you want to grow up?" And I was like, "Excuse me?
What? Why?
Did you? I'm pretty sure that Jurassic Park is a big kid movie. Thank you.
What?
Like,
why would somebody? Jurassic Park is an awesome movie. It's
no,
not
but
just
it's
for
like
kids.
I felt as if like I don't know how to explain, but like I could understand if they were like if I was getting like every single season of SpongeBob SquarePants.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like Jurassic Park. That's like getting Die Hard on Blu-ray, right?
Yeah.
Isn't
Die
that
Hard's
like the
amazing.
same?
Yeah.
It's not like it's a kids movie. People get eaten alive.
Yeah.
Even though I watched it every single time I went to the video store, I would rent it when I was 4 every single day. Every single time we went, I was like, I got Jurassic Park, and I just sit there and watch it every time.
Oh my god, it's so cute.
It was the coolest. And I watch it all the time. Never got sick of it. And then I got Walking with Dinosaurs.
I feel like if you're hanging out with like a new person and you start humming the theme to Jurassic Park, they should be able to finish it for you.
If they can't,
why are you hanging out with them?
I'm wondering, like, no matter who you hang out with, like, if they don't like Jurassic Park,
I feel like everybody's seen that movie and everybody likes it.
Is there? I mean, like, maybe if you were an adult and you saw it and you didn't like it, I guess. But Jurassic Park was the first time they actually made it so like dinosaurs were like
in a movie.
And like looked like dinosaurs.
Yeah, exactly. And not like, cartoons or something. Yeah, they were actual dinosaurs. And that's why everybody was like blown away. There's an obsession with dinosaurs. They have the dinosaur exhibits at the museums, and like it's like little, like when kids are little, like what do they talk about? They talk about dinosaurs and spaceships and like the cool stuff.
I kind of feel like if you think that Jurassic Park isn't completely awesome, that maybe like what if there's like something wrong with like that person? Like if you don't think that. Like, I'm like, usually, I'm really thinking, like, what there is to not like about Jurassic Park.
I don't know.
I mean, it had a girl hacker. Hacker. She's like, I'm a hacker. I hacked it. It's a Linux system. Hacked it. Yeah. Like, it was awesome. And then...
Wait, a girl hacker? What are you talking?
Remember when... The system went offline and they didn't know how to do it.
And
Samuel L. Jackson was like, I don't know how to do it. Blah blah blah. And then like later she's like,
yeah, you're talking about Lex.
I'm not talking. Is that her name, Lex?
Yeah.
Oh, the blonde girl.
Yeah.
And so then she's like, oh, it's a Linux system. So she's a real hacker because she knows how to do Linux. And she goes, oh, and then she like she just like drags and clicks things, but she hacked it. So
it's a Linux system. I was like
and then her brother's like, you're such a nerd, and I was like, yeah, well, Stupid. I thought it was awesome.
Do you remember how it like shows like the beginnings of like gifts on computers where he's like, not
Say the
so
magic
fast.
word.
Gotta say the magic word.
Oh, that was so good. Do you have any other news?
Nope.
I don't have any other news. All right, cool.
Awesome.
See you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.